Hey, welcome to Cinema Gulp, all you cinema drunks. This is the Alien franchise Chug Show. Here's how it works. With the help of our fellow cinema drunks, each one of us has the length of time it takes for the other to drink a frosty beverage to explain the film.
Cheers.
Prometheus. The name Prometheus is in reference to the Greek god of fire. Legend has it that he stole fire from Zeus and gifted it to the other humans. Well, it's fitting since the name of this film, because it's basically Ridley Scott burning down all of his original continuity and creativity from his 1979 classic. So Dr. Lady finds some hieroglyphics and wants to follow it to some planet because she's religious and believes in aliens. So she sets out to the stars. The first movie to ever not feature a xenomorph in the franchise, unless of course you count giant Squidward or the hedgehog at the end. When we get to Prometheus spacecraft, we meet some of the dumbest scientists this side of Paris, France. But not to worry, Covenant is next, and those scientists make these ones look like a bunch of Alfred fucking Einsteins.
And who are you, Alfred Einstein?
So really dumb scientists land on LV something something, apparently not LV 426, and spend about 5 minutes on the planet before deciding to take off their helmets and breathe in alien fucking air. But miraculously, they're okay. There's a bunch of weird spacecraft stuff and engineer gobbledygook with teases to what might have been xenomorphs, but apparently wasn't. So a big storm comes and everybody has to leave and go back to the Prometheus, except two really stupid scientists who get lost and start playing with an alien cobra. Always smart. So the cobra goes down one of their mouths and turns them into a weird Night of the Living Dead meets the Fly type of creature. So when we get back to the Prometheus, Dr. Man, for some reason, starts pouting and whining that the whole mission was a joke. Not exactly sure why he thought that was a failure when they literally found an alien spacecraft and had only been there for 2 hours. But he's probably the most unlikable character in the entire Alien franchise, so fuck him. So David, the only smart person who just happens to be an android, first movie I've seen, I think in a long time, where two humans fuck and conceive an alien squid baby. And what has to be the coolest scene in the movie? Giving herself an alien C-section with some sort of laser machine. Pretty fucking intense and awesome, I will say. So Ridley Scott ruins the mystery and mystique of the awesome image of the space jockey by telling us that they're just a bunch of bald albino giant human gods, and that was just some sort of super suit. Then we find out it's not even the same spaceship that crashed in Alien. Jesus Christ, was Ridley having a fucking stroke while writing this script? Because I may have been having one while watching it. Engineers rip off David's head because why the fuck not? A map to the stars appears and somewhat readable to the humans. Map looks as easy to figure out as the combination of President Scrooge's luggage.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes! That's amazing! I've got the same combination on my luggage!
Then the alien squid baby is gigantic and mouth fucks one of the engineers. I wonder where this is going. Then Stringer Bell runs up to the Prometheus and runs right into it, creating a donut, which causes a huge collision and makes one of the spacecrafts for some reason roll down a hill. Now, I'm pretty sure Charlize Theron is a very smart actress, though she's playing a character that doesn't understand that you can turn right or left while running. So she's pancaked. Dr. Lady and head of Android David somehow figure out how to pilot the engineer's spacecraft and decide to fly, not home, but to the alien planet where the aliens clearly want to kill humans. The end. This is a beautiful looking movie, but that's not enough to compensate for the awful script, awful characters, and total molestation of the original mythos. This failed prequel series is more damaging than Lucas going in and adding McClunky to fucking Star Wars.
I bet you have.
McClunky.
That's baby making music, that's what that is.
Alien Covenant. This movie totally sucks. Ridley Scott and his gang of writers completely fuck up any sequel plans for Prometheus, while also making a brain-dead sci-fi horror that doesn't connect at all to the original Alien. They make a convoluted mess of the xenomorph lore. Now it's black goo. Now it's spores.
Why are my drippings with goo?
Now it's a bioweapon that works like Thanos' snap. What the fuck is all this shit? David created the xenomorph we all know and love? No, that's not what fucking happened. Bullshit. This movie has the dumbest and most forgettable collection of characters I've ever seen. The movie starts with the most celebrated alien character introduction since Michael Bihn's in Alien 3. Captain James Franco does an impression of his career as art imitates life, when he suddenly bursts into flames, never to be heard from again. After Franco is flambéed, Billy Cudrup is promoted to Captain Egghead. He makes the brainless decision to chase a rogue signal to a random unchecked planet, which of course gets everyone killed. The rest of the forgettable and idiotic crew makes a plethora of other stupid decisions, like exploring without masks, taking smoke breaks on distant alien planets, sticking your face in an alien pod and giving it a little squeeze, taking no quarantine precautions, actually taking no precautions at any point during this entire movie, comforting and hugging a dude who is spurting blood and spikes from his back, slipping on blood and shooting up the place, blowing up the entire ship, following a stranger across a coliseum of Kentucky Fried bodies with no questions and no suspicions. Everyone's just cool hanging out in this creepy robot's creepy lair. And no one is suspicious that after 10 minutes of meeting him, he's cut his hair and dyed it to match the robot that you're with, Walter. And Walter, he doesn't seem to share any of what he sees down in David's fucked up science lab, probably because he's too embarrassed that they'll find out he's been down there fingering David's flute. I'll do the fingering, you blow.
Jazz flute is for little fairy boys.
Who wrote this shit? Jussie Smollett? But then comes the dumbest moment in all Alien films. After finding a dead crew member, Captain Egghead sees David communicating with an alien, sees David defend the alien when he shoots at it, still trusts David enough to follow him down into his science lab of death. Captain Overeasy is still relaxed enough to listen to a lecture about all the sick and twisted things David has done with the alien goo pathogen. I'm sure David tried shoving some of that up his ass. Captain Scrambled Brains still trusts him enough to follow him down in a dark hallway into his Garden of Doom. Hey, Captain Egghead, do like your name says and stick your face in that pulsating egg there. 1.5 minutes of screen time later, we get a chest buster. That is not the alien life cycle. It does not happen that quick. That is fucking stupid. One of the worst moments in all Alien movies. When it comes down to it, this is not really up to Ridley Scott's standards of filmmaking, in my opinion. The overuse of CGI really makes this feel fake and not come to life like I would expect a Ridley Scott movie. It's filled with cheap horror movie tropes that do nothing to create any real sustained tension or thrills. And you add in weird shit like robot makeout sessions, robot karate, and Jussie Smollett in a shower scene. This movie blows like an alien out of an airlock for the 4th fucking time.
Right.
Whenever he says anything, you say right, Brett. You know that?
Right.
Ridley Scott's 1979 film Alien utilizes a realistic science fiction backdrop and horror elements using psychological elements that gush with reproductive imagery, both the feminine and the masculine, in a way that would have never been more iconic without H.R. Geiger's degenerative genius. A spacefaring commercial towing operation is processing ore while the crew sleeps, only to be awoken when the Weyland-Yutani Corporation's true intention for their mission begins. Alien's specialty is keeping you from understanding who the protagonist is. So instead, you learn to appreciate the whole crew. His exploration of the dark unknown doesn't stop Kane from examining organic orifices, but we're still shocked when a creature emerges from the egg and attaches to his face. Of this ancient ship, actress Veronica Cartwright said Geiger's ancient derelict ship set was, quote, so erotic, it's big vaginas and penises. The whole thing is like you're going inside some sort of womb or whatever. Ripley, the lead officer on the ship, tries to warn against not following quarantine, but Ash disregards her. The story does a great job of making us believe he's doing this for the captain and for science, because he's a science officer.
I'm a doctor, not an escalator. Spock, give me a hand.
And not that he's a goddamn robot who basically worships this organism. Instead, we follow the crew as they comfort a recently violated Kane, played by John Hurt. He's pretending everything is fine, similar to what might happen to any sexual assault victim. Meanwhile, Ash is admiring the face hugger, or, as he calls him, the tough little son of a bitch. Kane's motherhood is accelerated from hunger cravings straight into labor. As the scene unfolds, that is more messy and gruesome than even the actors playing in it could realize. And only watching this scene can adequately describe how the alien bursts through the chest with Ash right there to stop anyone from harming it. Oh God! Giving it a chance to scurry away faster than the Roadrunner.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey.
Atmosphere was everything in this film, from the sets, music, and incredible acting, including the 26-year-old Baloji Badejo inside the alien suit. Lots of incense was burned to make the smoke in the movie and the scene of claustrophobia. Smoke in the movie and the sense of claustrophobia makes you feel as if you're aboard the Nostromos with the crew. Under those conditions, all but one of the crew spend the rest of their existence hunting the alien, being thrown off track by Jonesy, generally not getting a good look at it until it was their turn to go, which is why they pitched it as Jaws in space. Brett, played by Harry Dean Stanton, goes looking for the pussycat. Captain Dallas goes into the ducks and gets the hug of death. Ash, played by Ian Holm, is decapitated by Parker after Ash tries and fails to suffocate Ripley by making her fillet a magazine, while Ripley prepares the shuttlecraft called the Narcissus, which tells you how the company feels about anyone using it to get away. Parker and Lambert, who are still on the Nostromos, encounter the alien, and Parker going down to save his shipmate. That doesn't succeed. All alone, save for the cat in the carrier, Ripley sets the Nostromos to self-destruct, believing she got that son of a bitch.
You son of a bitch.
Ripley spots it, strips to her shirt and underwear, and to everyone's admiration, quietly slips into a spacesuit in order to blast the alien with gas and a harpoon gun, and in the ultimate showdown, sending it out of the ship and deep frying it. Ripley uses her intelligence and the technology created by mankind to overcome the horrors of the natural world. It draws you deep into the womb of the Nostromos and doesn't let you go until Ripley sets the alien ablaze. Beyond the successful horror aspect, such careful detail was taken to make the science fiction details as believable as possible, so that you really feel like this is a prophetic depiction of the future. Truckers in space that it seeks to accomplish. I just love it and can watch it again and again.
Well, that's great. That's just fucking great, man. Now what the fuck are we supposed to do?
The 1986 James Cameron film Aliens is a masterpiece of writing, acting, filming, directing, editing, and practical effects. The only movie that tops this is the extended version of the same movie. The success of the special edition of Aliens released in December 1991 was so successful it rightfully made extended versions a common thing for popular movies. I want to explain that even though this epic tale is a sequel to the 1979 movie Alien, watching the old movie first is not mandatory. Of course, it helps introduce you to Ripley and the Xenomorphs, but Aliens is so good as a self-contained story, I would recommend watching Alien after Aliens. The reason for this is that you will want more alien action as soon as Aliens is over. Watching Alien then as a prequel is a great way to see how this all started. You can then totally skip the disappointment you will feel with Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection and the total confusion you will have with Prometheus and Covenant. The year is 2179. Ripley is found floating through space in cryostasis in an escape shuttle 57 years after the end of the first movie. Ripley learns from a smooth-talking company representative, Burke, that her daughter Amy died 2 years before at the age of 66. Ripley is very sad. Next, the same company, the company Ripley works for, Weyland Yutani, blames and suspends her for blowing up the ship in the last movie. This is despite the fact that it was under the company's orders that Ripley's ship and crew investigated the alien ship on the moon LV-426 that ended up infecting her crew with the alien. Then we learn that now 158 people, mostly families, live on LV-426 in a colony named Hadley's Hope. Then Burke, hoping to score a big win for the company's bioweapons division, secretly has a crew from the colony on LV-426 investigate the alien crash site. A little girl named Newt and her very unlucky family take on this task and boom, facehugger on Dad's face. This is where I learned that it is smart to keep your finger on the volume button of your remote control when watching Aliens to help reduce the ear trauma from the loudest little girl scream in film history. Soon contact is lost with LV-426. The company asked Ripley to join a rescue mission alongside a team of personal heroes, the coolest characters ever, the Colonial Marines. The movie can next be best explained using actual dialogue from the characters. Many of these words of wisdom continue to guide me in my day-to-day life as they consistently pop in my head. When I drove a little too quickly into the Del Taco drive-thru and immediately thought, we're in the pipe, 5x5. Or when my female terrier gets too close to our floppy cat and I yell,
Get away from her, you bitch!
Day in the Marine Corps is like a day on the farm. Every meal a banquet, every paycheck a fortune. Vasquez doing pull-ups, Bishop's android abilities, and Hudson's comedy relief are on full display with the knife trick and Hudson saying, Bishop, hey man! Hey, not me, man! The dropship then unloads the M577 armored personnel carrier onto LV-426 with all the Marines, Ripley and Burke. They make their way to the colony, break inside, look around, find signs of some battles, find some face huggers and jars, and find a surviving little girl. Eventually, they detect all the colonist tracking devices down in sub-level 3.
You're such a geek.
Looks like love at first sight to me. My name is Newt.
Traitorous.
They're dead. All right, can I go now? Flame units only. I want rifles slung and no grenades. What are we supposed to do? Use harsh language?
Giant pussy-licking ass fucker cock shit!
Let's rock! Let's rock! So after leaving this alien's blender of death, the remaining few regroup and plan.
Hey, maybe you haven't been keeping up on current events.
But we just got our asses kicked, pal! I say we take off, nuke the site from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
Fucking A.
That's the only way to be sure.
That's it. Game over, man.
It's game over.
Because it will be dark soon, and they mostly come out at night.
Mostly.
They mostly come at night. Mostly.
Who's laying the eggs?
I didn't watch Alien.
But I do know that we need to understand.
D-guns down to 20. 10. Wait,
man.
They're retreating. Next time they go right up and knock. Yeah, but they don't know that. Maybe we got them demoralized. Ripley, grab onto me. Hold on. Now I'm going to end this with a few more questions and comments and requests for Mr. James Cameron that come straight from my heart, and I am sure are shared by 426% of us Alien fans.
I understood that reference.
First, I want to say to all filmmakers, big and small, please go back to using more practical effects in movies. There is a place for CGI, but stop sacrificing quality to save some time and money. Why was Aliens the first and only film you did in this franchise? God knows it needed you. And 3, you have the perfect spin-off possibility with the Colonial Marines movie where you could take the story anywhere you want to go. That group of ultimate badasses could be replicated on other moons, planets, asteroids, against all sorts of other aliens. Xenomorphs, whatever. You are James freaking Cameron. Hell, maybe there is still time to throw some Xenomorphs into Avatar 4 or 5 to spice things up a little bit. A Na'vi Xenomorph hybrid would be pretty badass. Let's kill 2 birds with 1 stone here, make Aliens and Avatar great again by bringing BBX to the big screen. Give us some big blue Xenomorphs.
Alien introduced you to the terror. Aliens multiply the terror. Alien 3 introduces the franchise's now longest running theme, being terrible. The film opens by killing 3 of your favorite characters. Newt is noped, Hicks is hacked, and Bishop is checkmated. Luckily, that leaves Sigourney Weaver returning as the indomitable Ellen Ripley, in what is easily the slowest paced film of the franchise. Being the sole survivor, she crash lands on a refinery prison planet. She wakes from her hypersleep to discover it is populated mostly by monks, rapists, and people with alopecia.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth!
While there, she bones Charles Dance. And I'm talking 90s Charles Dance, so. Being a gentleman and a doctor, he agrees to cut Newt's chest open, thus proving there was no alien inside her, and also that little girls are in fact not made of sugar, spice, and everything nice. Unfortunately, it turns out a facehugger got to the scene stealer of the film, a cute puppy and a good boy. This creates a dog-like alien that moves and looks a bit different than previous films. Also, Ripley has a queen in her chest. Bummer. Eventually, Ripley and all the prisoners who hadn't been eaten band together to try to kill the alien. This is where the pace of the film finally starts picking up. There are tense, claustrophobic chases through tunnels, dynamic camera work, and some of the most exciting smelting I've ever seen on film. In the end, they destroy the alien, and Lance Henriksen is there for his second-to-last appearance in the franchise. First, he played an android. Then he played a scientist. And finally, a man showing up for a paycheck. All in all, I actually kind of like this film. It is unique to the franchise in its cinematography and themes, and it tried new things. Also notably, it was David Fincher's first feature film. There were a ton of versions of the script, and it's amazing Alien 3 came out as good as it did. That being said, it's still the first of the worst. In space, no one can hear you scream, and they can't hear you sigh in boredom either.
Mama! Come to mama, baby. Come on. Mom? You've been bad!
Alien Resurrection. This is the fourth part in the series, came out in 1997 by a French director, Jean-Pierre Jeunet, who also did Amélie. This happens 200 years after part 3. The military scientists on the space vessel Auriga, they have cloned Ripley using the blood that they had from a long time ago before she died. But the alien queen's DNA got mixed in, so the clone has an embryo inside of her. The scientists remove it, but they actually keep Ripley alive so they can, study her further. And we get to see that she has really cool super strength. She has acidic blood. She's kind of like got this connection with the aliens. She's pretty cool. A group of mercenaries get to Auriga on a ship named Betty, and they have a bunch of kidnapped people that they're going to use for hosts for the aliens. They find Ripley, and Cole, who is played by Winona Ryder, actually tries to kill Ripley.
Bad idea.
But it doesn't matter. The aliens actually have already escaped because they used their acid blood, kill some crew members. Dr. Wren tells us that the ship is actually going to return to Earth now because that's the default emergency. Earth is going to be fucked. They decide to go to Betty to try and destroy Auriga. Ripley then, you see this number 8 on her. She finds 7 failed clones, and it's really, really disturbing. This one that she finds is really gross, and it begs her to kill it. So she actually does. She mercy kills it. The rest of the group then swims through the kitchen, and it's a really, really cool scene. The flooded kitchen. You get to see 2 aliens follow and swim. We lose a few more crew members there. And then we find out that Call is actually an android because she gets shot and falls, and she didn't die. So she ends up setting Auriga to crash to Earth. She fucks over Wren. The aliens then capture Ripley, and the others go to Betty. So Wren actually is trying to stop Call from this plan. Then we see this guy named Purvis, this poor innocent guy who has an alien already in his chest. This guy is great at playing people freak out. Just freak out. He ends up killing Wren by putting his head right onto his chest right as the alien bursts out. So that was a pretty cool scene. So anyway, they take Ripley. Ooh, already done with one. Nice job. They take Ripley to the alien nest. We find out that the queen has a womb now. It's part of the mixed DNA. So she gives birth to a xenomorph, and this thing is so fucking disturbing. It looks sort of human. It has like eyes, like human eyes you can see through, boobs, but it's kind of like this big white blob. It's the worst thing ever. Cool puppetry, but it's just the worst thing ever. And immediately it kills the queen. Just goes, kills the queen right away. Chucky is actually in this movie. Brad Dourif's in this movie. He's sitting there in a cocoon. You see his head. He's saying how beautiful this this newborn baby is. Then it kills him too. So Ripley then goes to Betty. The baby gets there too, and attacks. The baby also kills Tuco. Tuco is also in this movie. He starts freaking out, but he gets killed. Ripley gets on the ship and saves Call. Then she uses her acid blood to she throws it under the window, makes a hole in the window. Fortunately, unfortunately, pushes the baby to it. It starts getting sucked through the hole.
That's what she said.
Like the back gets sucked through this hole, and it starts to like scream in pain. This is the worst scene ever. Like, this is really, really hard to watch. You see like parts of the body just like turning into particles in space. The way I felt, that was the way that Ripley felt. I'm so sorry. It's so disturbing. The survivors end up escaping in Betty. Auriga crashes to Earth. I actually watched the extended version. They crash into a Paris. You get to see the Eiffel Tower in the background there. And Cole asks what you want to do next, Ripley, and she says, I'm a stranger here myself. That's the end of the movie. Nice job, Ben.
Hey, Cinema Drunks, thank you so much for watching. If you like what you saw and you haven't subscribed yet, we would love a like and subscribe. Leave some comments in the comment section below, and we drink your cinema.